Should I start, Ankita?
Yeah, Gayatri, you can start.
A very pleasant evening to one and all. It's my immense pleasure to announce that our DSC AISSMSCOE came up with the latest brand new session, which is full of learning and polishing your skills. I, Ms. Gayatri Khedkar, a core team member of the first DSC AISSMSCOE, welcome you all on the behalf of DSC AISSMSCOE. It's a great honor to me to introduce and welcome our speakers, Mr. Sachin Kumar Singh and Mr. Samesh Lakhotia, who got selected by universities as a part of GSoC 2020. Today, I would like to point your attention to fresh upcoming latest event of Google, and that's GSoC 2021. You might be facing issues. What about it is exactly and how can I contribute? But don't worry, we are here to guide you throughout the event. GSoC 2021, that's Google Summer of Code. Google Summer of Code is a global program focused on introducing students to open source software development. Students work on a 10-week programming project with an open source organization during their break from the post secondary academic program. Since its inception in 2005, the program has brought together 16,000 student participants and 13,000 mentors over 118 countries worldwide. Google Summer of Code has produced 38 million lines of code for 715 open source organizations. As a part of GSoC, student participants are paired with a mentor from the participating organization, gaining exposure to real world software development and techniques. Students have their opportunity to spend the break development and techniques between their school semester, earning a stipend while working in areas related to their interest. In turn, the participants' organizations are able to identify and bring in new developers who implement new features and hopefully continue to contribute to open source even after the program is over. Most importantly, more code is created and released for the use of benefit and all. What's the role of a student? Students contact the mentor organization they want to work with and write up a project proposal for the summer. If accepted, students spend few weeks integrating with their organization prior to the start of coding. Students then have 10 weeks of code meeting and the deadlines agreed upon with their mentor. So now we will just take a short review about the schedule of GSoC 2021. Student application period will start at March 29 and it will last up to 13 April. Then application review period will be from 13 April to 17 May. Then final result will be announced at 31st August. Yeah, it was the short review, but you will get the details on official website of GSoC. Indeed, it's a long process, but definitely going to polish your skills throughout. I am profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to introduce the speakers for this evening. Today, we have invited Mr. Sachin Kumar Singh, a project member at GNU. He has worked on GNU Astro and made library and CLI interface for different distortion conversation providing uniformly during a calculation pipeline. He has implemented a space-efficient index-based KD trees. He has also implemented a multi-threaded matching algorithm that matches objects in a query file to identify particular objects like stars or galaxies. Along with that, we have invited today Mr. Samesh Lakhotia. He has worked on improving the existing REST server for semantic web called Hydrus. Hydrus utilizes the power of linked data and Hydra standard to create powerful REST APIs. Added major features with included database architecture optimization to improve performance multifold. He also added unit test and documentation. Today, we are privileged to have an opportunity to listen them in this evening. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome you, sir, to this literary evening. I further now invite Rucha to take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. Hello, guys. I'm Rucha, and I would first like to welcome everyone here. I know we all are very eager to listen to our speakers now. So, without further ado, I would now like to invite Sachin here to share his experiences with all of us. Sachin, please.
Thanks for having me. So as Gayatri already mentioned all my names and all the work I did, so I'm going to quickly review what to do at the current time, like the time you have to time you make the proposal and time you get selected and all. So for me, my experience, like previous year, it was like 21st February for the announcement of all the organization and mentors, and then we started working on that. So what I did for my proposal was to start interacting with the mentor and simultaneously fixing some small issues, bugs, some tasks, and also taking feedback from the mentor for the proposal side by side. So it's like you don't have to start making proposal for the start by the start of the session, but you have to go hands in hand with understanding the code base and making a good proposal for you. After making a proposal, you might take further feedback from other members or your friends, or one or two iterations from your mentors as well. Then in the coding period, you go through your proposal. It might change a bit, but you go through proposal, you implement the solution, you take help from mentors, and then it's just like that for I think it's 1.5 months now. So it's, for me, it was similar to that. I think Samesh will have something interesting. Samesh, you want to?
Hello, am I audible? Yep. So yeah, first of all, thanks Gayatri and Rucha for having us here, and very happy to share all the info I have and being alongside Sachin. So yeah, about my experience, like first of all, it was like one of the best experiences I've had in my college life. I think it'll be similar with Sachin also, because you get to learn a lot. Like in the 3 months of GSoC also, like for us it was 3 months. Now I think it has been reduced to 1.5 month, around 2 months. I think 10 weeks. And even before the GSoC period, when you're applying, you're learning about open source, it it really helps you become a really good developer. And that GSoC is like a cherry on the cake when you're participating in open source. Even if you don't get it, you get to learn a lot in open source, which is very helpful when you start working and all the technologies, like when you start working afterwards. So about my experience, it was I think Sachin had covered major points about the proposal period and how you go through making the proposal and the overall period. And adding on, like he has said most of the points. Adding on to that, it's mainly like for in my personal experience, I was little late in my proposal to get it reviewed by mentors. I wouldn't recommend anybody else to do that. But uh, apart from that, one of the most important things before the proposal writing period is like the when you make contributions to the organization. So I kind of focus more on that, and that delayed the proposal part. But overall, it was a very nice experience, and I think we can get into details in the further questions of this session.
Yeah, sure. That was actually really motivating to listen to your experiences. I would now like to know that what was your inspiration, the first step that provoked you to get into GSoC even as a participant? Sachin, Samesh, any one of you would answer that. What was your inspiration for GSoC?
Want to take it, Samesh, or should I go?
Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead. So yeah, the first thing is like when I was in my first year, I like most people, I didn't know a lot of a lot of programming or software development. I was just exploring everything. So that time I started software development, and I found that I really liked it. Then I got introduced to GSoC from seniors at my college, and then once I understood what it is, when you see at the core of GSoC, it is basically uh, you're working for 3 months and building right now the timeline has changed, but yeah, you're working and building something in the open source world which everybody gets to use. And as a software developer, that's like when you or whenever you build something and you have people, everybody goes there, reviews your and they come back and say that what an amazing product you have built, and or software you have built, and this has really helped in my life or my project or whatever. That really gives you a kind of satisfaction. And a lot of organizations come in GSoC, right? And when you realize, I mean, when you don't, what you don't realize is like lot of the application on your system right now might be might be open source application. Like if you're example, if you're running Mozilla Firefox, uh, there are people who have done GSoC at that. And now imagine you're writing some feature that gets implemented in Firefox, and that is being used by everyone in the whole world. So that's like that's like something to brag about itself. Like you feel very proud of that you're kind of helping everybody with your skills. And that was the main thing for me. And you get to contribute, and that was the main thing. After that, like other things, like you get to learn a lot, you become better developer and all that comes afterwards, but this was the main inspiration for me.
Wow, that was
Yeah,
really a nice aspect. Yeah, Sachin,
adding on to
please.
that, I mean, yeah. So like Samesh did, right? Samesh is all right about the impact of the contributions and all. But I think another point for me was like making connections to a lot of people in the open source community, and also getting a code reviewed by like you write a code, a sample project or a side project that you write, you can mainly share it with some of your friends or share the GitHub link to like what's your review on that. And so it's like very domestic and very local review and iteration process for all. But once you contribute to open source, you get exposure for like mentor who is not even in your timeline. So he might be sitting in Spain or America or wherever, and he will give you directions to write better code, efficient code, refactored, and all things. So yes, the code reviews and connections. It was the cherry on top of like all the process.
Okay, and listening to you guys mentioning your inspiration is really motivating for us all here. Moving on to the next question. One thing, matlab, this was your inspiration to join GSoC, but what was the thing that kept you hyped up after joining it? Matlab, you need
Uh,
something to continue with it, right?
okay, so should I go, Samesh, or you wanna mic in?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be lying if I didn't say stipend. Stipend was a factor, but apart from that, it was a factor, but it was not one of the major factors. Uh,
Okay.
Learning of obviously when you get to work with lots of people, lots of good developers who have like spent half their lifetime doing what you're trying to do, and sharing or building onto their experiences. And like when you work in a software, you're not just working on code, but you're working on experiences of other people, like what they thought like this would do, how it will go forward, what are the roadmaps for it, like all of this. You get to work with their mentality, how they think they code, and all of this. Like it helps you become better in thinking and implementing. So that was already whenever I write a few modules or write a small piece of code and then and I talked to the mentor. So he gave me a bit of very good advices about how can I do better in that, how I can refactor it a bit, how I can remove some redundancies and all. So that was the major thing that kept on going. That like you get to know a lot of things, and that keeps you on going and vet you for it learning more, I think. So yeah, like constantly learning new things about it, constantly meeting new people, constantly, yeah, everything is constant in here.
Okay, so the new information kept you hyped it up.
Yeah.
Okay, Samesh, you would like to add anything? What kept you
Yeah.
hyped up?
Yeah, yeah. So, like as Sachin had mentioned, like about the stipend. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I realized after my after this whole GSoC, and now it's been almost a year since I did it. Uh, I kind of realized that before GSoC, right? Before you're accepted, it's you have that in back of my mind, and in back of your mind, that stipend is there. You get that Google tag and everything like that. But once you get accepted, and now what kept going, like kept me going and hyped up was like exactly like the kind of people you meet, the kind of people you get to network with, uh, how good they are at their field, and you get to learn from them. And apart from that, you get to spend 3 months and that's in summer, right? You don't have any other commitments or anything like that. So you get to spend 3 months, an amazing 3 months when you're free and you're just working on something you really like, that is software development, and with some amazing minds. And you're working remotely because many people, all the people who get selected in your org will be working remotely. You get to learn a lot of things other than coding, as Sachin had mentioned, like time management, how to talk with people, how to plan things, how to like everything apart from code. It's not like you're just sitting there, you're learning coding and it's over. It's a very
Yeah.
holistic experience as a whole. So and I'm still like, I'm sure like even Sachin, like we are still in touch with our mentors and our GSoC orgs. So it really helps you to build a network, and in the end it's like a very wholesome experience, like overall.
Okay, thank you, Samesh. Moving on, Sachin, I would like to ask that what was your GSoC joinery like? Matlab, when you joined, what was the first initial steps you encountered, or your experience? Like, just I've just joined GSoC, and this is what goes in my mind.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, like 21st February last year was when the organization and the mentors were lists were announced. So I was just going through. I really didn't have in mind like I have to get selected. I was like, okay, if not this year, like I will have at least made some contribution for the next year. That was in the top of my mind. I didn't have any. I didn't think that I will get selected at all, but I wanted to contribute either way. So I had like selected 2 or 3 organizations that I wanted to work with. So based on my in that skill set that I possessed that time. So I selected GNU and Linux Foundation and all, and then was just going through the project list, and I came across GNU Astro. Sorry. So I had a bit knack for astronomy, so I'll say I think it might. I just went through and say, okay, like this is a good astronomy project. Let's go through it. So there was the all the project description and how to contact, who to contact, and all. So I just wrote a simple email to my mentor. So I was like, okay, I want to work. Can you give me a few issues? He didn't reply because he was on a tour. He replies to you after 2 days, like, sorry, I was on a tour. I didn't get the message. I'm going through all the messages, and he just gave me a whole manual and easy issues to solve, and just helped me getting through the initial phases of it. And after getting through issues, you get to understand the code base a bit, then you start enjoying it. Doing well when you solve a few issues, that it's become kind of an want to solve more issues. Like when you get better at things, you want to do it more. So as I solved small issues, like I wanted to do some bigger issues, so he gave me some bigger issues to solve, and that's how it started getting more and more like enjoyable experience. And side by side, I was like, also, okay, I have to make a proposal to help me out in that. He
Okay,
also helped me
started
there.
getting involved in that.
Yeah, involvement definitely.
Okay, Samesh, anything from your side? How was your GSoC initial phase like?
Yeah, like like my journey, if you see, before I got accepted into GSoC, it was like uh, I had kind of started planning this thing, I think around January itself. Like I just
Yeah.
I went through the whole organization list, and I was seeing what relevant organizations are there in my tech stack and all that. So I started from there, and from there and after I finalized something based on what I like and I'm good at. So I took kind of like intersection of both, and I found that this like Hydra ecosystem is where I like the project, and everything. But initially it'll be very tough to get started, even if you know tech stack. It'll be like, because it's a new thing, like even I didn't do it, even like nobody does it. Like when something is new, it'll be very tough. So but you go through it slowly, And as Sachin had mentioned, like every time you fix a bug or your PR gets merged, it's like a different adrenaline rush you get, and you really want to continue doing that more and more, fix bigger bugs. And that was how it started. And then similar to what Sachin had mentioned, that there were I started with a proposal period and got it reviewed.
Okay. Continuing with Samesh, I would like to ask one more question. When should one start preparing for GSoC? As you said, you thought about it in January.
Hmm.
So, what is the interval when one should start thinking
Yeah.
about and preparing for GSoC?
Yeah. So the thing is, like always, there will be people who start at the very end and still get it. The exceptions are there, but then in a general case, I think I would recommend, if somebody asks me as a junior or something, I recommend that you try to shortlist all your orgs, like go through like the organization list. Uh, it's
Yeah.
uh, it's on the Google website. Go through that and see what were the past projects, and what is their project, what tech stack it is, what kind, like do you have interest in the kind of domain they are in at. Like example, like
Okay.
Sachin's organization and the project was related to astronomy.
Yeah.
So are you interested in that, or like, or what are your tech stack, like are you good at front end development, do you know React, are you good at back end development, do you know Python or anything like that. So first know what you're good at, then go to the organization list and try to go through every like take your time. This process takes time. It took me, I think, approximately at least 1 week to just go through each organization and try to find that which really interests me, and I can be able to contribute to that given my tech stack. So I did that, and by the first week of January I had finalized around 2-3 organizations, and I'll recommend everybody do around the same, because more than that you won't be able to contribute to any organization. And then slowly I started looking at each one of them, and I tried. So yeah, that's the first step. Okay, like getting
Yeah.
going through the organization list and trying to shortlist them by the first month of January. Now, second step is to go through each project in more detail, as in try to start reading the code base. Start
Okay.
like in every organization will have some kind of issues, which or bugs which they want the new people to join, new people to solve. It'll be usually labeled as something like good first issue or something like that. Relevant tags will be mentioned,
Okay.
and then you can start with them. And once you start with that, uh, and I'm telling you, it's going to be very tough, because this
Okay.
before this you'll be accustomed to building your small projects. So you're participating in some hackathon, or you're building some two three
Yeah.
with 2-3 friends. But there's a whole different thing. There's like the lot of people are working on the same thing. The code is much more higher than you have ever, like the code level, the code quality and all that. So it takes time. It took me, I think, about 1 week to solve my first bug, but it's well worth the effort. You understand the complete, like you start understanding the code base and you start getting comfortable, because it's a new thing, it takes time. But once
Yeah.
that is done, the second step is basically try to deep dive into the code base and the organization issues, try to solve them and see which organization you can solve issues for, and just keep doing, like try to contribute to them, basically by solving issues, by doing making some feature enhancement, uh, what is it, pull requests. So do that, and doing this will take time, and this will continue this by this is the first step. After that, I mean second step, sorry. And after that, once you're comfortable in this, you have some good contributions. uh, After that, there like this Google's selected organization list comes out. Now
Okay.
when this comes out, you need to check if the organization which you were contributing to has it been selected. And it's not too much of, and if it's selected, well and good, you can continue contributing. They'll have an idea list, like what projects they want to do in this summer for GSoC students. Go there, start talking to the mentors more about the idea which you want to work on your summer. Then talk about how to implement all the details, and that's basically the part which you get involved. So you build your proposal. We can come to like proposal building in the next some questions, but that's the step.
Yeah, sure.
And once you're you're doing that, and in case suppose your organization does not get selected, it's not it's not like the end of the world. You have done some contributions in open source, they're always going to be counted. And just at that time I just recommend just that's why I recommended to just shortlist around 2 3 orgs, so in case some one does not come, you can always go and see in the list if the others came, and you can continue uh, trying to get involved more in that and solve that. So that was the third step, basically to
Yeah.
um, get connected with the organization which if it got selected, and interact with the mentors, get the idea list. After that it's like fourth is make proposal. After that some like submission of the proposal. That's the general process, and the timeline is like as I said, by January try to uh, shortlist 2 3 orgs, contribute to them by until the org list comes. I forgot like when it came last time, I think it'll be around 2 months from then. After that make proposal for about 1 month, like talk about proposal and all that. Yeah.
Okay, this already so much valuable information I'm trying to digest. Yeah. So, next question I would like to ask Sachin. Sachin, what are the preparations we should do technically before thinking of applying for GSoC?
None, I would say. Just
None.
no, not at all. I mean, you should know a programming language or two, but not some. Don't have to be detailed, very detailed about like. I have to know this before all of this beforehand, because you never know what type of organization will get selected, or what you're in, whether your selected programmer will be there or not. So
Yeah.
uh, if I have to say, like, if you're interested in, like, say, just choose, just do what you're doing, right? Just do what you're doing. See if what you're doing is in there. The list of organizations or some projects that you like to work with are in there, and just do that. So, like, there is no extra preparation for that. Whatever you're doing, just it's like a continuation of that. Nothing like you have to put in an extra effort. By the way, if you want to, like, you have like this year you wanted to earn, but you cannot get selected this year. So this year you can start, like, building upon that. Like, I wanted to work on this project last year, I didn't get selected in here, so, like, let me get to know more about this. So you can start it like that. But if you're like a first timer, so
Yeah.
no need to get deep into some kind of language, but just do what you're doing and just select what your interests are. Based on that you can start, and it's always a learning, it's all about learning experience.
Learning
GSoC is all
process.
about
Yeah.
learning. So you get to learn as you go. So there is no need for extra preparation for that. But whenever you are stuck in something, just Google it out and sort it out. Stack Overflow for the
So,
win.
you advise that we learn with the process.
It's a learning process in the end.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
just
you,
adding on
Sachin.
to that, like
Yeah.
that was my exactly my whole GSoC, I can say, like learning on the go
Oh,
every time, because the lot of things you don't know about. You might be good at a programming language or something, but
yeah.
the organization is in a complete different domain. Most organization, like his was in astronomy, and mine was in something called Hydra, and I had to always learn on the go. It was not like there was some time that I know everything and I'm starting. It's always like I know something, I'll try to work with that. If I don't know, I'll learn and I'll come back and I'll again attempt it.
Okay, so the process is everything here.
Yeah,
Yes.
obviously.
Okay. Samesh, next question. What are the things that you shouldn't do while applying? Like preventions.
Okay. So while applying,
Yeah, while
um,
applying first.
okay. So first thing I'll say is don't uh, like yeah, one important thing you should not do while applying is try to shortlist around I had mentioned like do only like maximum 2 3. Don't do like shortlisting of like 10 organizations or something, and try
Okay.
to contribute in each one of them, because the thing is you have limited amount of time, that is a fact.
Yeah.
And to get to show the organization that you know something, you will have to dedicate it some amount of time, and that's the only way you make some meaningful contributions. So if you divide your time in many organizations, you won't have any kind of meaningful organization and even one of them. So you won't have a good impact on any one like not even one out of 10, and that's bad. Instead of that, try to just focus on two organizations and do them really well. Try to understand the code base and try to be one of the best in those organizations as a contributor, rather than being around like 10
Jack
like
of all
trying to
trades.
exactly, yeah, in terms of, yeah, trying to contribute to organizations, that is there. And one thing I think, while proposal I think while in when it comes during proposal making, right, be honest in your proposal. What I mean by that is, it's in most proposal, like in any proposal, like any organization, in the proposal you make, you will have to show a timeline basically of what features, like how much time it's going to take for each feature you're going to do. And sometimes, and it's quite normal, okay, if there's some exam you have, or like from an academic side, or if there's some program is scheduled for you, something else, don't lie in the proposal and say that you're going to be working in that period even though you won't be working. So be very frank with the organization and the mentor, because it's not like if you're busy for 1 week and you don't work, they're going to cancel your application or something. What organization and the mentors are just like, they're like normal people like us only, and they realize that students are not, there can be some cases they're not free, and they'll reschedule your timeline, they'll help you make a better timeline. And they can, even they'll be like, okay, so if you're busy that time, we can start a bit early and we can finish this up. So always be frank in your proposal, don't lie. I think those are the two things which I think should not do. I think Sachin can add if there's
Okay.
something else.
Yeah, Sachin, would like to add
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, don't get too attached, I will say. If it's not this year, like there is always the next year. So don't get too attached, like I have to just do GSoC. You can always contribute to the project as a side like. So if you're really interested in the project, you can just contribute. You don't have to be a GSoC participant to contribute in the long run. So just contribute, and next year you will get selected if your contributions are really good enough and valuable. So this one is my
Okay, so
side.
don't get attached. Beware of
Yep.
attachments.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Sachin, how important is it to get connected with the organization or your mentor before submitting your application?
Yeah, the whole point is get connecting. So connection is like the initial step you do before landing into, before going about the code. So first of all, you contribute the mentors. If you just go blindly into the code base, you'll not get lost, but it will be difficult. So
Okay.
having a mentor can really guide you towards the code base. He can really give you, a holistic overview of the code, how to, like, what is this part. Although there are documentation for it, but like the, help is always good than no help, I think. uh, he can give you some kind of issues, small issues to begin with. Like some projects, like if projects are hosted on GitHub, like there can be simple tags about it. But some projects are not exactly hosted on GitHub. Like mine was on Savannah. It was not. It didn't have that tags like good first issue or so. So I couldn't like go into like this one seems really easy because there is no easy tag here. So I have to get connected with a mentor, ask him for some easy issues. He will give me some issue. I will do those, and then I will ask for more. And this one. So connection is like very important, not from the mentor, but from the community as a whole. So if like you're in a GNU community, you can you just meet another people. You just make mentors. They will also help you get will give you valuable feedbacks for how to do code, how to write proposals and all. So get connected to like however number of connection you can make. Just make connections. It's not like limited to mentors. It's all about connecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sachin. We talk about organizations. So, Samesh, how do we start picking up organizations? You said that we need to focus on two or three majorly. So, how do we start picking them? What's the criteria one should be looking for?
Yep. Yeah. So that's like a nice question. So mainly, what I would say to anyone is, there are two things while you're like, when you're looking at organization, while you're trying to select them. One is, be clear of what's your tech stack. What I mean by that is, be clear of what you're good at. Like and it's like, I don't know if people, this is a myth that, like I've heard people tell that only people who do web development or are good at good at development will get into GSoC, something like that. There are projects in GSoC, there are organizations in GSoC which are from almost any domain you can think of. from ranging from something like kernel level programming. There are a lot of OS related uh, what do you call work which isn't done in C. There are projects like that, to something like even like machine learning. There are a lot of research based organization. So don't worry about what I should learn, what I should not. Anything you do, be sure, like just be good at something, and try to find. So you could do one of the two things. One is, suppose you're good at some technology X, like let it be Python and backend development or anything like that. Try finding organizations and projects which are in that domain. Like the whole idea is that if you know something like before, like what the organization is working on, it'll be easier for you to get started with the organization. So just say like there's this official GSoC page called, I think, GSoC Archives. You can just see GSoC Archive 2020, 2019. You can keep seeing for every year. You can see which organizations came, what are the projects they offered. And when you go to their organization's GitHub repo or wherever the repo is hosted, you'll be able to see what the code is in, like which language the code is in, what is the, are they using React, are they using Node.js, or whatever it is, and are you comfortable with that? And first thing, you don't need to know everything what's listed in the organization, right? You can learn on the go. They should try to know something that gets you started with the organization. That's the point. And most organization will be domain specific, so you'll have some trouble understanding the domain, but it's fine. It takes time. You'll get through it. So coming back, for selecting organization, I would recommend you see what's your tech stack, and once you shortlist them, right, there'll be many organization for any kind of tech stack. After that, see which project is very interesting to you, because there are projects from a lot of places in GSoC. I think you can have something like kernel development, or in the same tech stack itself, there can many things. So what seems interesting to you, or what you would like to work on and build that software, try to read about the project, and try to get the project, try the project on your laptop, run it, and see if it interests you. And if both of them are matching, in the sense that you get some project which you're really interested in, and you want to learn and contribute to that, and it has also matched your tech stack, it's working on something which you already know. I think that's the best way, best organization you can get, and you can continue and learn more about the other domains which you don't know about the organization, and start contributing. That is one way I would recommend to most people. But I've seen other people also doing, if they have if they have a lot of time. I've seen people start, like, if they're really interested into some kind of project, and even though they don't know the tech stack, I've seen people learn the tech stack on the go from scratch and still do GSoC. So that is also there, but in my opinion, that's a little bit risky if you don't get if you don't, because you're learning from scratch. But that's also possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Sumesh. Chin, anything you would like to add, that how do we start picking up organizations?
Yeah, just pick up on your tech stack that you are interested in. Like for me, I was interested in astronomy. I have never worked on an astronomy project before, so I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And I learned the tech stack mainly, not the tech stack like the tech stacks was not very much, but the ideas, the mathematics behind it, all that I have to learn on the go. So many of the conventions, like they used FITS file for data transportation and creation. So I have to learn about those. They were like various standards that have to be used. So I learned all of them all go. It was mainly mathematical, so I had to learn a lot of mathematics around it rather than the tech stack. But yeah, you can learn it on the go. There is no rush.
Okay, thank you. And Sachin, as about organizations, as Samesh says, we need to focus on 2 or 3 rather than 10. So, what do you say about proposals? How many proposals should be one focused on?
Yes, the number of proposals is directly proportional to number of organization you select. So if I think there is a limit of 3, if I'm right, Samesh, correct me if I'm wrong. So I think there's a limit of 3 organizations that you can consider. So obviously you cannot make more than 3 proposals. Um, Even if you try to do that stunt, you might be. It's very risky, I think. Like Making one
Yes.
proposal was already bad enough for me. So I can only imagine how much effort it will go on to make 3 proposals.
That's
Um,
honest.
yeah. Mhm. Unless you're starting like a year or so ago, that's also a case, but
Okay.
let's not talk about it. Yeah. So proposal, you should focus on like if I think two is like a sweet number between 1 and 3. So focus
Sweet.
on two. Yeah.
Okay, one your main one and the other like a backup thing.
Already in August, I'd focus. I'll rather focus on one than on two. But if you're really hellbent into getting into GSoC experience, I'll say yeah, two is a good
Okay,
number.
just try.
Yeah, just right.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
I feel everything is going like the valuable information and all. Okay, so getting back, Samesh, how do we get our proposal ready for the final submission? The, what all
Mhm.
stuff you think might be, looked on, or how do you combine stuff?
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what we need to see here is that proposal. Okay, it's not activity like making a proposal. It's not just an activity that it's completely on you, that you research everything on your by yourself without taking anyone's help or anything like that. You can take a lot of like while you're making the proposal, right? Remember that the whole idea behind organizations just giving a mostly an abstract idea is that you research it on your own. Wherever you get stuck, ask the mentors on the their community channels, like it can be Slack or Git or something. Ask them
Yeah.
that I have researched this like like I've researched this much in about the idea I mentioned, but I'm getting stuck here. I was thinking of adding this feature in the proposal. What are your thoughts on it, or what do you think about how I should go about it? And the mentors, I'm telling you, they'll be more than happy to help you there. And because they know that they see that this person is actually putting effort into researching on his own, he has done some background research, he has worked hard, trying to understand everything, and then he's coming and asking some doubts which he has. So that's exactly what the organization wants. So the whole proposal making period before that is like it's like a two-way process. You ask the mentor something, you research on your own, you get to some level of understanding. If you get
Yeah.
stuck, ask the mentors, and they provide you some solutions, or like they can guide you to the right direction of what they are expecting. Okay, so that is very important. So in my case, for my proposal, a lot of things like what I wrote in my proposal came from my conversations I had with my mentors before I got selected into GSoC, when I was just discussing ideas and like how I can go about them. So that was a very important thing for me, and that really helped me build a good proposal, they because they are mentors, they know more than you, obviously. So they give you some really good approaches and all that. So that is one thing before you get to submission of proposal. And another thing is that most of the organizations allow you to have your proposal reviewed by the mentors itself. So that is one opportunity you can't miss, because like as I think Sachin also had mentioned, that he had some kind of draft a proposal and he kept building upon it. And that's exactly how proposals are supposed to be made. Like start a bit early with your proposal, like do some like start do some kind of draft, send them, get it reviewed by the mentor, and mentor will be very happy to review it. And because they also want you to get selected, right? The whole idea of behind this proposal is not like to reject people, or the whole idea is not to uh, reject people or get people out of the way. It's basically like this is whole the system is basically that if you're working a proposal, you're basically working hard, thinking about timelines, thinking about your project and features which you want to do in the upcoming summer. So that kind of preps you. If you get selected, you have a very good idea on how you get into what you're going to do in the next 3 months, or what is the timeline is. It should not be like you get selected and after that you don't know what to do, because that's a long time and you need to properly divide it and structure it. So that's the whole idea. So important thing is to get it reviewed by the mentors, and every organization would have mentioned how to get it reviewed by mentor, what's the process or anything like that. Get it reviewed by the mentors, they'll help you a lot in getting it polished. So that's, I think, one you need to do.
Okay, thank you, Samesh. I just get one question by this, if Sachin can answer that. Can we get a proposal checked by someone before submitting? You had a draft ready, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had like two or three reviews before. One was from mentor and another was from another participant. He didn't get selected, but at least he reviewed my project as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that's you can have reviewed it as long as many number of time as you get, but at least every new iteration should have something new. So like the first time when I selected, he pointed out very minor mistakes and some grammatical mistakes and some things that shouldn't be that should be uh, like made better, if I can say it. So it was like, yeah, do two or three reviews before finally selecting. It will really help you in the long run, and it can be from
So
your mentor. I also did.
okay.
I also sent my proposal to my friends. So just so you know, they
Okay.
also reviews like
So
make it short. So
did that help your friends and the other participants' reviews?
sure. Yeah, surely. So everyone has something to contribute. Everyone
Yeah.
can critique upon your work, either some way or not. So my friends say like, okay, so this part can be made short, or if you do it like that. My mentor pointed out some rather logical kind of errors, and all that. Yeah, so it really helps if you get reviewed by your mentors, your peers, your friends, where you can get it reviewed with. Yeah.
Okay, so you get a different approach at that.
Yep, yep. Yeah, like
It's good.
yeah, just
Yeah.
adding
Yeah.
one thing.
What?
Like
Yeah,
it's
Samesh.
always good to get your GSoC proposal because it takes a lot of time, okay, like to make a proposal and for the person to
Yeah.
review it also. It's not a very small thing. It usually
Small
about at
thing.
least 15 pages or something. So it takes considerable effort. So I also got it reviewed by some of my college like seniors who had done GSoC, who had completed it.
Okay.
So it's always a good idea to do that also. Like someone who has already done GSoC, they have like very good idea, so they can help you out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Samesh, like this was about the proposals and we talked about organization. But how does the flow of the work or project work after getting selected? The what would be the flow?
Okay. Uh, so first of all, like this very much depends on the organization, the specific project you have, the kind of proposal. Like as I mentioned before, you kind of make a timeline of in your proposal itself that this from this community bonding period, like first 2 weeks I'm going to do this, I'm going to work on this, but that is kind of like a template. Usually what happens, at least in my case, was uh, everything, like most of the tasks which were decided were like it was kind of on the go, like with the mentors itself. Like you can always tell the mentor, I've done this much, what's the next task. And usually the general period which GSoC has has, the idea is that they're like the first 1 month, at least for us that time. I don't know exact timelines for this GSoC because a lot of things have changed, but
Yeah.
for us it was I think around 1 month of community bonding period they call it, and after that I think 2 months of coding period. So and what like the idea behind community bonding period in general is that you get to interact more with the community, get involved more with all the members, and uh, basically learn about the organizations, how it's working internally and all that, everything which you need to get started in the coding period. And in the coding period, as the name says it, you code whatever you had mentioned in the proposal. But there's a very general thing. What you actually do depends entirely on your organization, project, and the mentors. And you can always talk with the mentors and say decide like new timelines on what you want, like mutually you can decide. And that, like at least in my case, it was like something I had mentioned, and the mentors itself are going to help you sort out your timelines. For me it was I think around some of the features which I had mentioned, which I was going to do on the latter half of the summer. They told we should try to do this before itself in the starting, so it helps us. And it depends on the organization again. So that is how the work goes. Like you plan with your mentors every week. For
Okay.
us it was like a weekly session. We had meeting and we planned what has to be done on the next week, what's the progress till now, and that's how the summer went.
So it was a complete interactive session with your mentor and you planned all the flow.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole 3 months for us. And even like in my case, like community bonding period wasn't exactly
Yeah.
community bonding period. We started kind of doing other things in that. Like we started writing documentation, all that. So it depends highly on your project. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Sachin, I would like to ask you that what was your way of preparing a proposal, right from the organization selection? As you said, you had interest in astronomy. Apart from that, something, or how was the proposal presentation for you, preparing all that?
So first of all, I took uh, small issues. There was like already mentioned like what the project is gonna be. So I had a clear idea of what the problem was. Now I have to find a solution, right? So I did a few issues around those questions, those problems. So like I tried to get into what the problem really was, what the problem we are currently facing. Then I tried to pitch my ideas to the to the mentor, like how about we go about doing that, or pitch some pre-existing ideas and modify it so that we can do it in our way to integrate with the current code base. So I used to pitch ideas, and then he was like, okay, we can do that, and then small we can I did small pitchings and small feedbacks, and then just corrected it all together to make a final proposal. So it was like already um, finding a solution to a problem you know well. So yeah, it was my approach of doing that. And then after getting all these pieces together, I made a proposal and then get it reviewed. He gave me advices on how to get it better. So what parts can be refactored better, what parts can be done in a different way. So he gave me a very good advices against that. So yeah, it's this is an iterative process. Yeah, proposal making is always an iterative process. You don't just sit one evening and just write a whole proposal. You do it in small steps. So that was how
Gradually.
it was for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Listening to both of you talk about GSoC so much is literally boosting up everyone to participate at least. I would
I
just
hope
want,
so.
yeah, really. Samesh, any tips for our participants, attendees to get selected in GSoC? Since we're already motivated, any tips would be really helpful.
Yeah, so first of all, like you can get a lot of these, uh, from a lot of articles and videos online itself. But
Yeah.
something which I think is important, which I understood, like in my phase of doing GSOC, is basically whenever you're talking to mentors or in any community forum, one important thing is, which I feel, from my perspectives, always do some research. Okay, try to research on any idea. What you're not understanding. Okay, suppose you're going through the project, and it'll be every time. Okay, this is gonna happen like before GSOC, during GSOC, after GSOC, every time. So when you're researching on some idea, you get stuck. Okay, don't just be like, hey, hello, I got stuck on this thing. Can you help me out? So that is not the best way to go about this, because everybody is spending their time, okay, to help you out.
Yeah.
One better way to go about this is basically like, when you get stuck, or what are doubts you have, do a good amount of research on that before you ask someone. Okay, see why it's happening, see possible solutions. And even in solution, if you don't understand, that's fine. It's completely fine if you don't understand completely, but do some research. So whenever you're talking, okay, it should not be like you're just asking. It should be more like you're just asking for help. It should be more like you have researched something, and you're telling them that, I tried doing this, but this did not work out, and I'm getting this error, or I'm getting stuck here. I've gone through these links or these resources, but still I'm not able to understand, where I'm going on wrong, or can you please guide me now? So when someone reads something like that, right, it gives an impression to the mentor that, he's not someone who has just come here, not like he has not any background research or work itself. He has just come to take our help overall. It should not sound like that. It should be more like, you have shown some effort by yourself, and you have done some amount of work by yourself, and then you got stuck, and you're trying to, convey that to the mentor for that kind of help. So that really helps. That's one thing. Like, don't just ask, research and tell. So that's like a general tip during the whole GSOC process. And other than that, like, I think, don't worry too much about getting into GSoC. Okay, any contribution you do during like as a GSoC student, okay, or without GSoC student, like if you just do contribution, it's never going to go waste in your life. Okay, you're gonna l- like right now you don't realize, like even I realized like after like so much time, that everything you do, it really helps you. Any kind of open source contribution you do, let it be GSoC or just if you're just contributing, you get to interact, you get to network with people in that, you get to like they're the same people, you get to interact with the mentors of the organization. You learn a lot. If you're just in open source, you get to learn a lot. And mentors are always if you just ask on the channels, they'll be ready to help you even if you're not a GSoC student. It's like they're just there as the organization maintainers of the project. So you learn a lot, even like except like in case you don't get GSoC, everything like that. Like this never gets wasted. You can always write it on your resume that you have done this contribution. You learn a lot, so that effort is never going to get wasted. You're going to learn a lot in the whole period.
Okay, Sachin.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, about the research thing. Yeah, I would like to stress upon that point. Yeah, really don't just ask blandly like what is an API. You don't ask that. You just do a bit amount of research, and then you ask the question based on like, yeah, I did that, I did X, and I get the result Y, but the result Y is not acceptable. So what should I do? I tried to use this. I tried to use this solution. I tried to use solution. Did not work. What should I do? So you just should, and also don't ask generic questions. I'll say that can be easily answered, right? It just can be easily answered with a Google query. So put some effort into that before asking, because like everyone has is giving you their time for giving for solving a particular query. So just don't waste your time. Is all I'll say.
Okay, no, these tips really, I feel that these are useful in our other aspects as well, not only in GSoC. As
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said, that we need to research and ask and all that.
yeah. These are the like soft skills apart from the hard coding skills. So the soft skills and
Yeah.
hard skills went hand in hand about open source organizations and projects. Yes.
So, as we said, that these are also useful in other aspects. So, apart from GSoC and the organization and proposal and the technical part, how did GSoC help you in some other aspect? It might be personal, it might be academic. So, any experience on that?
Yeah, sure. So obviously it helped boost my like communication skills and connecting skills. So when you're interacting with people across like timelines and across different countries and different cultures, you get to know them. Always there are like you start a session with the particular query, but there is some bit of pockets like you get to interact with them culturally. So it was like COVID was going on, so we always used to chat like how was the situation in your country and how's there. So there's always some small pockets of like some really healthy chats that loose talks that go along with the bit agenda of the talk. So yeah, in on a whole, it was like yeah, really good. It made me feel good about my communication skills, how I interacted with people, how I connected with people, and also how I connected with the other community members on a whole. So as I was contributing, I get to meet a lot of other people from my organization during some community meetings or some discussions that were relevant to my project. So you get to meet a lot of people, you get to interact with a lot of people. So yeah, that's kind of cherry on cake with all those hard coding that you do.
So, it helped you not only on a technical level but other personal level as well.
It's bound to, you cannot just code every day and just you say, okay, I coded this, like just PR it and let me go to sleep. You
Yeah.
cannot do this. You have to be like, you're just community, you are interacting with another person. So you have to be like respectful and kind and all. And also with other community members that are trying to make a contribution and all. So yeah, communication skills really improve when you do some open source project.
Thank you, Sachin. Samesh, I would like to listen to your experiences as well.
Yeah, so like as Sachin mentioned, right? Communication is key during GSoC. It's very important. And because I'll tell you why. The first thing is like you're in a remote setting, right? You're not in some office or something, and the mentor is not, even for a mentor from his perspective, it's not like he just does not want some amount of code to get code output from you. The whole GSoC is like a very holistic experience. So they also want you to interact with them, and ask them some other doubts and keep getting engaged. It's not like uh, at, like in any organization, communication is so valuable that I'm sure, like like suppose you're lacking behind in some some task which you had deadline for 2 weeks, but you're still not finished it. Okay, it's not like you have to finish it in at the end of 2 weeks, or you're just disqualified from GSoC or something like that. You just have to communicate with your mentor that, and it's very normal in like software development that you got stuck in something, and it took you more time than expected, but you're working on it. So that kind of communication is very important. Like we almost had to we kind of kept communication about our project, where we are at, like status, everything we were doing very regularly with our mentors. So that kind of kept them also in check, that they're actually working, and if they get stuck, mentor can provide some extra help if needed. So that is why communication is very important, in terms of going through the program itself, uh, to so that everybody is on a same page in the GSoC organization. And other than that, like as Sachin had mentioned, like a lot of soft skills do improve, and because it's very, and for me even like writing skills, very like technical writing skills, in fact, they improved a lot throughout the whole program, because uh, you need to always, you don't go on a video call, you're not on a text. I mean, you mostly have to text all your questions or something like that. So the way you formulate your questions, the way you ask them, everything about that, and how you ask for help, or how do you email people, how do you get more, everything about that. So that really helped, like that really improved. And as even even with our mentors, and it's not like mentor is someone who is very strict or something like that. Like they're just normal, people who are very happy to see students are very uh, very enthusiastic about working on open source. They also want to help you. They also want to always learn about your experiences, about what you're doing, what you're learning from where you are, and everything. So it's like a very, it's not like, I just tell, GSoC is not just limited to like the coding output you get after 3 months. A lot of times I've seen like the kind of deadlines you make in your proposal, it does not span out like that. Like some tasks take more than that, more times. You kind of reiterate on the kind of tasks you want to do. You don't do some tasks and everything. At the end, it's not always something which you are written on a proposal and that's the output, and if you don't get that, you're out of GSoC or you're disqualified. It's not like that. The whole process is designed so you improve in a lot of other ways. Okay, and basically you get to understand the whole software development. Apart from that, also the whole life cycle of as in software development life cycle, where you learn to talk, speak, write documentation, everything. It's like very holistic process.
Thank you, Samesh and Sachin. It was great having you guys on the discussion panel. Matlab, listening to your experiences, it was a great experience for our listeners as well. So now concluding this, I now hand over the session to our host Gayatri again.
First of all, like thanks, Rucha, for having us here.
Yeah,
Really happy, to share
Yeah,
like some info which I have, and I'm no expert in anything, but I feel, if someone, like all your audience and all your college students, they find it helpful, I'll be very happy to see more people going into open source and like learning new stuff and everything. So yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Let me make a shameless pitch before we end this. So, do apply to GSoC this year. Like, if you are interested in astronomy or GNU projects, do apply there. I'm a mentor. I can help you out. Other mentors can help you out. Look out for projects. Just do
sure.
apply here. Yeah. Just one thing you have to take out of this session is that I'm going to apply this year, no matter what. So this is the one. If this is the moral of the like all these chats. So this let it be this.
No, really,
Yeah.
listening to your experiences, it was like we are really boosted up and motivated that at least we need to try GSoC once.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
caring about the result, at least the trying part is sure for everyone here.
Yeah, exactly. Like as Sachin said, do try, give it your best shot, because
Yeah.
in case you don't get, okay, like the worst case, what's gonna happen? The worst case is you're not
Yeah.
gonna get selected. But apart from that, you kind of see that, and a lot of organizations are always ready to have, student who are, if you show that you're ready to work, uh, they'll be very happy to still mentor you if you're not a GSoC student throughout that summer period. So you
Oh,
don't really lose anything. You get to learn lot of all that thing is very important. And again, do apply. And if you're interested in Hydra tools, Hydra ecosystem, do even I'm a mentor, so you can always try contacting us in the mentor, and it's based on Python. So if you're interested in anything like that, you can reach out.
yeah, no, great. Sure, some of our attendees are going to message you about this again. Yeah, so Gayatri.
Yeah, thank you, Rucha. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the occasion of the DSC session in our college. On behalf of DSC AISSMSCOE and the entire team here, I am thankful to all the speakers for their graceful words with us, for sharing their graceful words with us in today's meeting. I must remark a proficient sense of gratefulness to all our guests for sharing with us some of the finest technical practices. All the participants of this meeting are all inspired by your highly sparkling words. I am thankful to all the participants for coming here and attending the meeting. We have been fortunate to have a renowned identities from academic, industry, and other areas. It's not possible to thank everyone for such an appreciating involvement and the willingness they have expressed to finish this task. So, I thank our honorable speakers, professors, and the members of the meeting present here right now. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, bye. Thank you. Bye.